talk about division between those who live in cyberspace versus physical space. And more people are now living in cyberspace and just following, let's say, tweets under 280 characters and X and so on. How should educational institutions like us and also K-12, secondary, primary education should tackle the challenge of having younger generation be able to read this size book, thought-provoking, books that makes us think and we'll also discuss. But that's getting more and more difficult for us. So what's the role of education to basically maintain the intellectual ability of human being?
Yeah, I mean, in previous eras, educational institutions focused on providing people with information because information was scarce. It was a scarce commodity. Maybe you live in a distant town and there is just one library in the town with just 100 books. So just getting a book was very difficult. Now it's exactly the opposite. People don't need more information. We are flooded by enormous amounts of information. And the main thing to understand is that information isn't truth. The truth is a very rare subset of information. If you think about all the information in the world, so the truth is a very, very small percentage of that. Most information is junk. Most information is fiction and fantasy and lies and propaganda and so forth. And there is it's easy to understand why. The truth is costly, whereas fiction is cheap. If you want to write a truthful account of anything, you need to do research. You need to spend time on analyzing it, on fact-checking it. It takes time and effort and money. Fiction is very cheap. You just write anything that comes up in your mind, very cheap. Secondly, the truth tends to be complicated because reality is complicated. Like if you want to write an account about quantum physics, it's complicated. Whereas people usually don't like complicated narratives. They want simple stories. Yes. And again, fiction can be made as simple as you would like it to be because you just invent it. And finally, the truth is often painful. Not always, but some parts of reality are uncomfortable. From the level of individual, this is why people go to therapy, because if it was everything about me was so pleasant and fun, I wouldn't need a therapist to help me acknowledge the painful memories or painful patterns that I have inside myself. And this is true all the way to entire nations that often don't want to recognize some painful parts of their history or of their society. So the truth is sometimes painful. Fiction can be made as flattering as you would like it to be. So in this competition between costly and complicated and painful truth and cheap, simple, attractive fiction, fiction wins. And the world is flooded by enormous amounts of fiction. The job, the task of institutions like universities, like newspapers, is not just to provide people with more information. They have too much of it. To provide them with a method to find these rare gems of truth inside the ocean of information and to know how to tell the difference. So, as a historian, the main thing I teach my students in history class is not facts about the past. Oh, this king won that battle against that king in that year. They don't need me.